Hello, everyone. Good afternoon from my part of the country. I already see that a bunch of you already joined. This is Oz. If this is your first time seeing me in front of the camera, and you are joining a Q&A session that I offered about a week ago, and it looks like you guys signed up, and that's why you're here. Before we get going, can you give me a yes if you can hear me and see me okay, please? Paul says, good afternoon. Tony, good afternoon. Vince, good morning. Matt, Bill, Kevin, Christy, good day. Guys, give me a yes if you can hear me fine, if my audio and video is fine. All right. Dion, Winnie, Vince, Patrick, Bill, Rodney says yes. Paul says this is very exciting. Great to have you, Paul. Tony says I can see you and hear you. That's awesome. Eric, great. Abraham, yes. Bill, Neil. All right, good. So it seems like all of you can hear me and see me. That's fine. Again, guys, so I don't have a presentation today. This is truly a Q&A session. If you are watching this, that means that you are at some point or you're currently interested in joining the Blueprint program that we have, and maybe you booked a call with one of my guys and had some questions. So I wanted to personally show up and answer your questions. So the way this is going to work is you're going to use the chat box to type in your questions, and in the order they come in, I'm going to try to answer it. So the questions can be about the program, the industry, or if you wanted to join but something is holding you back or something is not clear. Again, this does not replace the webinar because we have a 1 hour long webinar that kind of goes through the offer and the process, the system, and that it's responsible from hundreds of people quitting their jobs and building wealth for themselves and their families. So I wanted to, I've been meaning to do that for a while, but we've been bombarded with phone calls and things like that. But I thought it would be best for me to make time for anyone who's been following me and they're maybe on the fence and maybe they have some questions about the program. So they can ask me directly. So, all right, everyone. So you can just start typing in your questions. If you do have any questions in the box, then I'll just start taking them. Mikhail says, hopeful. I have various questions. I'll go ahead and send them one by one. Abraham says that, Richie, capital or resources needed besides phone, web hosting, or internet access? Richard, that's about it. Yeah, you need to have a reliable internet and phone. And phone is not for telemarketing, but at some point you're going to talk to your customers, right? When they're submitting their file and things like that. And those are the resources that you need. Capital or the Blueprint is not free, right? So there's a cost to get enrolled into the Blueprint. Besides the cost of enrollment, you don't really need to have a marketing budget because you're not really using like paid advertising on the get-go or things like that. There are certain things that you might actually get everything done 100% free, but if you want to brand it with your business and things like that, you're probably looking at $100 additional, and that's not paid to us. That's just for tools that you use to kind of expedite the growth of the business. So there are no hidden costs or anything like that. We don't have any monthly fees. What you see is what you get pretty much. But yeah, you do need to have internet connection, reliable internet connection. Bill says a big concern is lead generations. All right, so I need to have specific questions about why is that a concern? Lead generation, Neil, Victor, can you detail the online lead generation process and methods? I'm having difficulty catching up with the questions, a lot of them, but we're going to get through all of them. All right, let's see. Can you detail? All right, so Victor, I was just scrolling down to catch your question. Lead generation process is various because we don't believe in just using one source to generate leads. It does not involve you purchasing leads or doing telemarketing. Everything we teach is online, so using different social media social media channels to generate leads because your audience is online, right? So you can go out there and print some business cards and put your tie and shirt and just call, but that's not really efficient. It's like a shotgun approach. So not that it doesn't work, but like as a business owner, I've built multiple 7-figure businesses. My philosophy is how do we do it with less headache Meanwhile, with authenticity, and at the same time, we can get in front of our customers much easier than kind of winging it or kind of trial and error, right? So everything you learn within the blueprint is online marketing. I can't get into the specifics of how you do it. That's what the training is about, obviously, or what tools you use, how to do that, and what message do you use, and how do you train yourself, how do you handle objections and questions, and what lenders to use, and all of that, and everything is like all the templates you need. So most of our members are not even from the industry, and they do really, really well because it is designed with that in mind. So if you're a veteran, you're going to find a ton of great information. But if you're the total newbie into the industry, you're going to still get a lot of great information out of it, because honestly, the product itself is very sexy. You're offering money to small businesses, and there are more than 10 million of them, and they need money. And the banks are no more the best resource for getting money for small businesses. If you're a mid-sized to large-sized business, then yeah, so you can still go through banks. But for startups or for like businesses who does average amount of volume, like anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000 a month, there are really not a lot of resources besides what we teach. Vince, I'm 68 with Social Security income and a failing business, lack of funds to start. Can the modules be purchased as they are completed? Vince, unfortunately, no. This is you're buying into a system, so we don't even have the accounting to track that, honestly, who does what with their purchase and things like that. We try to keep it simple. I do understand your situation, but we don't have an option for you to buy one module at a time. Arnold, how do I generate high quality leads consistently? So Arnold, yeah, you got one word right, definitely. Consistency is key. Otherwise, there are a ton of ways for you to generate leads, right? But consistency is by having a stellar online presence. That means that you have more people come and see your presence online, and they're convinced that you know what you're doing. You're backed up by the actual lenders. You're not winging it. That adds to consistency, and using the right tools. We do provide a ton of tools for you to consistently get in front of a couple of hundred businesses per day, right? So that's where consistency comes from. So a couple of hundred businesses per day see your offer, and they, if they're interested, they're looking for funding. The fact is, based on statistics, 3% of the entire market needs your product right now. And this doesn't have to do with lending all the time, like whatever it is you're selling, as long as there's demand for it, obviously, right? So 3% of the market is always like needing, they want to buy your product right now. So we teach you different targeting strategies for you to get in front of them on a daily basis. And most importantly, automate that process, right? Because a lot of you guys, maybe just like Vince said, you have a business, maybe you have a job, like no one is just sitting and doing nothing. So you already have occupations or things that keep you occupied in your life that's taking time from you, right? So you need to start a business that works alongside with that. So I'm not the type of mentor that would tell you, Arnold, just drop everything, burn your ships, and do this alone, because, well, I don't know, but most people have families and they got to feed them and things like that. So instead of recommending that cold turkey method to anyone, we wanted to design the program so it can be one with what you do, right? And at the same time, build this business to a level that when you're ready, you can transition away or out of whatever it is that you're doing that's not keeping you happy. Tony, how do you find leads for businesses besides cold calling and buying leads? Yeah, so we don't teach any cold calling or buying leads. It's all online lead generation, organic lead generation. By organic, I'm not talking about getting your website built and ranking it on Google. That would take years, right? So using different social media channels and different tools. And of course, you got to build your foundation first, right? So you can't just jump in, because if no one knows you, they're not going to just trust you right away and give you leads. But if you've been following our story, the testimonials and things like that, so you'll notice that some people just start funding deals within a month. And that has to do with really setting up your foundation the right way. So when a potential candidate sees your business online, they're immediately confident that you're able to help them. Vince says, I've looked at 3 other companies like your program the best. I will make it work somehow. Thanks, Vince. I appreciate it, buddy. Richie, thanks. Yep. Matt says, "Hello Oz, thanks for hosting this. I have a question. If I work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, is it possible to do business? Because surely I would need to talk with businesses within those hours. Sorry for that. Might be a silly question. No, it's not. I just partially answered that, but that's I want to definitely get into that because this is a very valid concern, right? That's what the reality is. You have a job that you need to be there from 9 to 5, and in your mind, you're like, how the heck do I build a business? Believe it or not, like I built my business that way, and mine was longer than 9 to 5. I had a commute to make to New York City, and for anyone that knows this area, commuting to New York City is always a hassle. So that's why I've done it personally. That's what I'm teaching it. So yes, you're going to have to talk to businesses, but or individuals who are starting a business. But you certainly can do that after or before your business hours or on your weekends. That's why the training is designed for you to carve out time to spend on this business. I want to make a distinction. So when I say you can build this business even if you have the job, granted that you can spend 2.5 hours a day on this, right? So if someone tells you, listen, you can build a business with no time spent, oh, I'm sorry about that. That person's probably trying to scam you. Because first of all, you have no skin in the game, right? If you're not going to put in time, you shouldn't make money. So that's just how it is. When you're running a business, when you're starting a business, it requires time investment. But how much? That's the problem, right? So how much time? Because a lot of businesses, especially when you're running a traditional brick and mortar business, well, that probably requires 120, 130 hours a week. So you can't really do anything else besides running that business. So with all the automations that we put into the training, I tell everyone straight up, listen, I don't know what you have going on. You probably have a 9 to 5. I had that too, but I had to have an honest one-to-one conversation with myself and told myself, listen, I got family obligations. I got community obligations. I got my job obligations. How much time do I truly have in a day to spend to grow my business? Because you and I and Bill Gates, we all have 24 hours. If someone says, I don't have any time for this, then you should not consider starting a business, honestly, right? You do have the time. It's just, are you willing to carve that time out? So as long as you can consistently put in about 2 hours, and it's not a recipe, you don't have to put in 2 hours. I'm just telling you what will work, right? So you can do this by spending half an hour, but it's just going to take you longer to get results. That's just how it is, because it's just a matter of you setting the foundation, getting in front of people, and then, Matt, more specifically, scheduling the calls. Because since you're not doing cold calling or telemarketing, you don't have to do that from 9 to 5. You can just, when someone's interested, you can tell them, you can listen, I can call you at 6:30 tomorrow because maybe that's when you get home, right? Or you can just list. I used to pack all my appointments on a Saturday. I would just book 10 appointments for Saturday, and just from morning I would wake up, brew my coffee, just get in front of my computer and lock myself into the room and go through my appointments. So there are certainly ways to do that. And again, most of my members start that way. So we don't really force anyone to quit their job. Paul, how much is your program providing lender contacts factored into the price of the participating program? Paul, did you watch the webinar? Yeah, we go through all of that in detail in the webinar. And of course, the lenders are included. There are a ton of things included in the program. Winnie, how long does it generally take for someone to get up and running? Winnie, so it goes back to the question I answered with Matt. So how much depends on how much time you're investing into this. So, but it doesn't take a lot because you're not really doing a ton of stuff on your end. So you need to set up certain things because we got to face the reality that you can't just start running marketing campaigns to generate leads if you're nobody, right? So you gotta have the foundation. Your business needs to have an identity, but that doesn't necessarily mean it takes months. Like back in the day when I first got started in the business, your business identity meant that you would need to be seen everywhere, like on Yahoo, on Google, and a bunch of other sites, and it would take weeks to even manually put in your information and get an index and things like that before anyone even sees that. And after that is successful, you would probably need, depending on the industry, 6 months to a year before people can organically start finding you. So we're gonna get past that process and help you build your profile really fast. So to answer your question again, it depends, but based on our students, usually people get everything set up within the first week and start generating leads and start working on deals and submitting deals and things like that. Rodney, if a person has a full-time job and can only spend about 3 hours per day on the business, what activities should one focus on to be successful? Rodney, yeah, it's a great piggybacking on what I told Matt. So 3 hours per day is awesome. So we have like specific action plan for you to follow in the blueprint, right? So what do you do right now and how long that takes, and what else do you need to do? Because we have multiple channels that you can use to generate leads. We teach about different marketing channels. Again, you don't need to be a marketing whiz for this. We train you, but my philosophy is master one channel, because I have members, Daniel, for example, he's only using one marketing channel and he's doing about $40,000 a month. And he's still doing that because he kind of mastered that, right? People who kind of get in trouble are the bright, shiny object people, right? So they just want to do everything. They want to do everything. They want to conquer the world. And what I tell everyone is like, define your little mountain, own that, instead of trying to dominate the entire landscape, because that'll take you forever. That's why you start with one channel, spend your whatever time you have, spend all 3 hours on that one, and you start seeing traction and you tweak it. And of course, we have support. We provide phone and email support. We have an amazing community of close to 1,000 people, and all these people that you see on my YouTube channel, we have more than 100 of them. They are in the community, so you get help from them. So we managed to somehow pull off to create this amazing culture that people actually do help each other. Broad, can this be done part-time? I work 9 to 5. Yeah, Broad, 100%. Let me know if you're clear on what I told Matt and Winnie and Rodney about that. I can definitely break it further down if you guys are not clear on my answer. Abraham, when joining the program, we will have access to different lenders to work with. Abraham, yes. So you will have access to various lenders and various products, and we have specific trainings on each product. Because guys, the worst thing you can do is start a business and only have one product. Like, that's very scary, right? Because it's like, if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Are you trying to fit businesses into that funding program? Let's say it's merchant cash advance. And if that person is not a fit for that, what do? Either you're going to go to the dark side and push them, be unethical, which we don't allow, or we lose that customer because you don't have anything to help them with, right? That's why you're learning about 10 plus products. And of course, with that, learning about the product doesn't mean anything unless you have someone who would be able to fund that. So we have the lenders, and also you have the specific training and what questions to ask and what documentation to need. When I say documentation, I don't want you guys to think that like if anyone bought a house, or if you're from the mortgage industry, documentation means thousands of pages sometimes. Ours is very little, usually 2 to 3 pages, because a lot of the funding has to do with the business's revenue and things like that. Bill, does the blueprint have a website? Website and funnel template. Bill, we do provide an actual website to all of our members, because one thing I know, and my background is a marketing, I do own a marketing agency. And of course, prior to the marketing agency, I used to be a door-to-door salesperson selling all these products, like alternative lending products, merchant cash advance, and things like that. And as a marketing agency owner, one thing I know is it takes forever to build a website. So I'm all about, like, how do we go from point A, which is where you are right now, and most likely you're not happy with where you are because either you hate your job or your boss, or it doesn't make any money for you, or you're running a failing business and you see that it's going down the drain, and you got to do something about it, right? And so that's your point A. And point B could mean financial independence, spending more time with the family, living in a better location, and traveling more, and things like that, right? So how do we make that distance from point A to point B as short as possible? And when we've been analyzing with our team, like, what can we do? We said, listen, we can tell them how to build a website, but like that will require them to be technical, and I don't want that. So I want to be able to build it and give it to them, so that all they have to do is just change their contact information there, and boom, done. So yeah, you do receive an entire website with the funnel. All right. Wow. Lawrence says, hello everyone, looking forward to this. Hey Lawrence. I already have Stanley. All right. Trying to catch my spot. Sorry, guys. Stanley, are there any issues with two partners working in different states, working as one unit? There's no problem, Stanley. Yep. Paul, I already have a lender. Can I just learn your program without working with lenders? Paul, yeah. So lenders are for you. You're not. We don't even know about the deals that you submit through them. If you already have a lender and you're happy with them, you can certainly do that. Like we're not taking a cut from your deals or anything like that. So lenders are we've been in the industry forever, so we know who's the legitimate lender, who's not going to get you in trouble. That's why we recommend certain companies, not everyone else. So if you have someone, but just be careful. If you only have one lender, it's very unlikely that that lender will be able to work with many products that we will train you on. So yeah, you're welcome to use whoever you want to use, but someone from the industry, I have my recommendations. And we also, like as our community is very strong, we have special deals with some lenders that you would be getting paid way more than if you just go ahead as just one person and try to negotiate with these lenders. Bill, do we need any licenses? Bill, as of now, no. California is the only state that's been trying to force that and try to categorize alternative lending as loans. So far, that has not been successful. We have many members from California. Other than that, no license is required. Zon, is there a slow season? Not really, Zon, because when you think about it, like for example, this is the holiday season right now. This is one of the bigger seasons because everyone wants funding to buy merchandise, right? Buy inventory, because they're going to be selling a lot of that, and if they don't have already a big inventory, they want to get the funding to buy inventory. It's also a big season for new business startup because people have ideas and they want to take advantage of the holiday season. So you see a massive spike, but we don't really have a down season unless you live in a cyclical area, seasonal area, right? So for example, if you're in a Long Island, New York City, and usually like until March, most of the places are closed. Well, that's obviously that doesn't have anything to do with the industry. But as far as small businesses, no, it's all the time. Because when you think about it, like when would a small business not need money? Never. They will need money. Mike, I'm totally new in this lending business. How can I be different than the big dogs out there without spending too much money buying leads and generating leads? Mike, 100%, you kind of nailed it. A lot of people have the misconception that, well, how am I going to compete with other guys? Well, you won't, because some of those big guys are spending $250,000 a month on their marketing, right? So you're not going to just come out of the woods and just beat them, all right? That's why, why do you go to a mortgage company instead of a bank, right? Because probably the personal approach. Why do you have an insurance guy or girl that helps you instead of calling the 1-800 number and working with Progressive directly? You have your local agent. People, when it comes to dealing with money, they want to work with individuals more. So our game plan is how do we dominate that's why I said define your mountain and own it. So it's not about how do we beat all those big guys out there, because that's not really realistic, because they're multi-billion-dollar companies with their funding and things like that and structures. So, but the market penetration is still very low, right? You're talking about the estimated $300 billion industry, and the total funding that has been processed that we're able to track is a little more than 50 billion. So there's this massive demand, and you can just kind of vouch for that demand. I mean, if you walk down the street and go to any strip mall and ask businesses if they heard of alternative funding, a lot of them will tell you no, they're not aware, or the only type of funding they know is through the bank, which is really not moving much, right? So yeah, that's why we're not saying, oh, you got to go in and start spending money. You better have a marketing budget. That would be just an easy recommendation. Everyone knows that if you have a ton of money, you can kind of test things out and see how it works. But the real game is how do you get in front of the real businesses who has the need for what you're doing and supply that need for them. Abraham, is this a biz that could be fully automated? Everything is done through social media. Well, it depends on how you define fully automation, Abraham. So no business can be 100% automated that doesn't need you at all, right? So it will require your involvement But yeah, so we don't like manual labor for you to just push buttons all day long. So there are a lot of automations in place, because at the end of the day, your difference from any other person is you, right? So you're going to be communicating with the customers, so you can't automate that part, because then it becomes a machine running the business. But yeah, everything else can be automated, if that's what you mean. Richie, upfront commissions is great once loan is funded. Is there a possibility of return or clawback of commission if a customer defaults on a loan? Which, if a customer defaults on a loan, that's a way bigger problem that the lender needs to deal with than you, because if they funded, let's say, somebody $100,000 and they pay you 10 grand. Well, what you can lose is 10 grand. What they will lose is 100 grand, right? But yeah, clawback. That's why, and what my point with that is, that's why there is underwriting. So they check out if this person is fundable or not. So clawback is within 30 days usually for most lenders. But I'll tell you, like, maybe 1 out of 100 of your deals will have that clawback. It's very, very low. It's not like they're just funding everyone and it's a percentages game or anything like that. No, because these funders and these lenders wouldn't be in the game if they kept losing these loans on defaults and things like that. So that's not something I would be concerned about. Abraham, would I learn how to build applications that will go to different lenders from my website? I know that Blue Wine and other online lenders work with partners, but no, again, we want to keep it simple. You don't need that API, because you're not going to be doing volume work. You're not going to be pushing 50 applications a day, right? If you're doing 5 to 10 deals a month, you're still making pretty good money, like 30 to 50K, 50,000 per month. So you don't need that, but we do have an automated application that you can 100% do online and have your clients fill it out online without them having to print it out, and you can then forward it to your lenders. So that is automated, but the whole API thing, again, no one needs to be a programmer or things like that. They build those type of applications because there's a need if you're doing volume. Vince says, I have a very poorly designed LinkedIn presence and Facebook page. When I join, can I get some help? 100%. Vince, we have a ton of examples and we kind of walk you through how to set them up properly. So you're not going to have any problem. And plus, we have the support. Yeah, if you want someone, take a look at it. Tony, do you have to register your business name with city or state? Tony, it's up to you. You can run this as a 1099 independent contractor. And in the blueprint, we go through different options. Independent contractor, should you be an LLC? And based on, we have information, state-specific information if you want to register your business, and which one you should choose based on the situation that you're in and things like that. We go through all of that. But no, initially you don't have to have a business. It's ideal to have an LLC because you're going to be bringing in quite a bit of commission, so you're taxed way more as an independent contractor than as an LLC. So that's important. Sandy, is this webinar recorded for later viewing? Yes, Sandy, it will be recorded, but it is, I think, it's automatically sent out to those who told us that they won't be able to make it, but they wanted a recording. I think we have like 30 people who emailed me saying that they wanted to make this, but they had other obligations. So we're going to send it over to them. Richie, will you help us identify niches, sub-niches to go after so we can specialize? Yes, we have a whole section on that. And Richie, don't forget that we also have like weekly calls, like similar to what you got. So my members go through this structure, Q&A calls with me every single week. So that's not something I delegate. I do it personally. So they jump on and ask their questions. And if there are any updates, we always have a lot of updates, and we add things that would make the training easier all the time. So I provide updates and take their questions. So they have access to me. They have access to my support team. Ron, how many active people are in the program currently? I don't really know the specific number, Ron, but I think we're a little over 1,000 people. Bill, do you have credit repair products? Yes, we do have credit repair products. Mike, not long ago, you're promoting your program for under $900. Are you going to have this special again if you join today? No, Mike, that program was version 1. So that, for example, that only provided like a landing page. So we updated the version. So to be, and it was like Merchant Cash, Advanced Success Blueprint. It was inclined towards the merchant cash advance product only. The business lending blueprint is totally upgraded, so we're not going to offer that price again. Broad, same. So we don't have 3 pay options. We don't have dual pricing broad. We have a 2 pay option though. Greg. Hi there, Oz. What's the approximate ratio of qualified leads to close per deal? Also, what are average turnaround time per deal? Thank you. Greg, that's very specific. That I don't really know, because that depends on the channel that you're using to generate those leads. And usually the leads are way better quality than telemarketing. So it's just a matter of you deciding what product they would be a good fit for by being a consultative person, and you submit it to the specific lender. Again, the turnaround time usually 1 to 2 days if it is one of the most common products like merchant cash advance, and you get your commissions paid within 2 to 3 days. But there are some products, especially for like startups, it could be a little longer. Again, that depends, but yeah, most deals will be really fast. Arnold, when I have questions while taking the course and building the business, they're a reliable backup source. Yeah, we do have the customer support. You have the community. You have access to all of our members who've been building their businesses. Some are making a couple of $1,000s a month on the side. Some are making over $100,000 a month. So not only you have the customer support, phone and email support, you have the weekly calls with me, and you have access to the community. Paul, the lender is an SBA license. SBLC is one of the only 14 U.S. lenders with that distinction. Is highly reputable, a major investor in New York. Awesome, Paul. Good for you. Hey, Oz. Thanks for enlightening us. How is this alternative lending concept work in GTA, Canada? Can you provide a market over here? Yeah, actually, I was there in July. I was in Toronto for a marketing event for the alternative lending industry. After US, Canada is the second hottest market right now, because Canada is where US is about 6, 7, maybe 10 years ago. So a lot of people do not know about the alternative. It's just massively growing, right? And which is, it's a great time to be in business, because you have the opportunity to work with small businesses and get them the funding they need. And for that reason, we're having like a lot of success with our Canadian members. And that's why we have like a separate list of lenders for them to be able to, so they can work with Canadian clients. And another thing that's happening is some of the very big lenders in US are opening their office in Canada, because they just see the potential. So I think over time, probably in the next 6 months or so, you're going to have it's going to be agnostic of what country. All the lenders will work with either or. But right now we have a big list of lenders that you can certainly use being in Canada. How does the funding work? Wilson, that depends on the product, but I can walk you through like the scenario, how it works most of the time. So you find a business who's interested in funding, getting funding from you. Then there's basic documentation, like a 1-page application and 3 to 4 months of bank statements. And that's for us to verify that their revenue, pretty much, because they might come and say, Wilson, we do $30,000 a month and we want $40,000. Well, how do we know that they actually do that? So we have to get the bank statements, and you take the 1-page application, the bank statements, send it to the lender, and the lender comes back with usually a couple of offers, right? So 2 to 3 offers. You take it back to the client, tell them, listen, you wanted $40,000. Here's one offer with $30,000. Here's one with $40,000. Here's one with $50,000, if that's so. And once they accept one of them, you go back to the lender and they initiate the funding. And that usually happens within 24 to 48 hours. And then your commission is paid. Sometimes if it is early in the day, the same day. If not, it is 1 to 2 days. So it rarely pushes to next week. But that's basically how it works. Stanley, you just answered that a website design is inclusive in joining the program. Is that correct? Yes, Stanley, correct. Not so an entire website. It's not just filled in with like all the information that you need. So I want to be clear. Sometimes when I say website, people can be skeptical and think that, so you're just giving us the template. We still have to like build the content. No. Actually, talking about giving you an actual website with all the elements. I understood that your office could do that for us for an extra fee. No, we're a marketing agency, so we built over 200 websites for like larger companies. But no, we're not selling websites, so you do get that with the training. Lacey, what's the average interest percentage charged to lenders um, of these small businesses? It must be considerably higher than banks. Depends. So you have products that provide zero interest, and you have products that can go up to 50%. So that's case by case, just like any banks. So if someone is qualified to get a loan from the bank, yeah, banks will be cheaper, but a lot of the times, like more than 80% of the time, they're not going to be qualified, right? That's why you're not really competing with a bank. So someone is not going to come to you and tell you, listen, I got this offer from the bank, $150,000 with like 3%. Can you do better than that? No. So you don't need alternative lending if you got the lending from the bank, right? That's why we exist, because a lot of times they won't be able to get that. Mohammed says, hi Oz. Hey Mohammed. Brent, through your system, are we able to bypass the undeck type of requirements to get full commission versus the 5% they offer the new brokers? Correct. So a lot of the lenders, well, they do know me personally. So that's why a lot of our members are making 8, 12, 15%. And not only that, you have your own representative from that lender that you can actually pick up the phone and call. Lisi, I apologize, Lisi, if I'm mispronouncing your name. If I have a professional profile on LinkedIn, how do I set up another one? Should I assume that you must keep that profile? Are you using it for anything? Or are you asking like, how do I modify it? Or you're talking about creating a brand new profile altogether? Steph, I missed the first half. Can I get this presentation sent to me? I know it's going to go automatically to people who couldn't join, and let us know, Steph, but I'll check if that's possible, okay? Wilson says, I have a mortgage license. Do I need any license? No. Arnold, can Canadian brokers work with the U.S. market? Yes, that's a great question. I forgot to mention that 100%. Yep. Tony, what are some of the different niches for this business? So there is no set number of niches. So I tell all my members, whatever you feel affinity towards, because there are only a few markets that we can't really fund. So that gives you hundreds of niches out there. What makes a niche is your prior experience in life and what you feel affinity towards. Like personally, when I was funding deals, I picked restaurants because why? Well, I worked at restaurants when I used to go to college. I washed dishes, I bussed table, I became a waiter, a manager later. So I spent 5 years. So when I'm in front of a restaurant owner, restaurateur, I can keep a conversation going. I know what times I shouldn't reach out to them. I know what times I shouldn't ask for an appointment. I know what they go through, the problems, why they would need funding, because I lived and breathed that for many, many years. So that would be my niche, not because it's better to fund restaurants. It doesn't really work that way. That's why I can't really give a list to anybody. I just kind of enlighten you on how to choose it for yourself, because that's what it comes down to. Because 99% of industries can be funded. So that's not that wouldn't be fair for me to favor one industry than the other one. Toby, payment plan. Can I set up an arrangement that will be more than 2 payments? That's what's holding me back at the moment. We don't have any other option, Toby. For something like that, we only have the 1 pay or the 2 pay option, unfortunately. Paul says, thank you for your time, Oz. I need to log off. Thanks, Paul. Mike, I might have missed something. So what can we do now besides merchant cash advance? You can do many other programs, Mike. We have, besides merchant cash advance, like 10 other programs. Some of them are pre-revenue, meaning that a startup, you can fund a startup. Some of them can be like helping somebody's, working with companies that helps fix somebody's credit. You can work with businesses that have the revenue. You can work with those who do not have the revenue. Yaniv, does your marketing strategy make it a disadvantage for everyone in your program because all using the same channel? That's a scarcity type of thinking, Yaniv. That's thinking that there are a limited number of clients out there. So if the industry is demanding, like we can't catch up with the demand. Like that would happen if we're funding a little over what the demand is and everyone is kind of stepping on each other's foot or anything like that, that's way different from that. And that, plus we have multiple channels, and plus people have different goals. Like some members come to the training to make $3,000 a month, and that's double of what they're making right now, and they're happy with that. And others come in to build an office with employees and be a millionaire. So that requires different levels of marketing than just using one channel, right? So certainly we're far from that. If we had maybe like 50,000 members, I would be concerned about that, but we're far from that. Ron, how many products? I think we have 12 products, Ron. Neil, which funders fund Canadian companies? Neil, I can't disclose that. That's provided to our members in the training. Mike, are you recommending us to pick a certain niche and focus on it and locally in our area, or should we do them all nationwide? Mike, so geography can be considered a niche market as well, right? It's not always the industry. So we train you on two options. Either you can choose a niche once you identify it, or you can start out as a generalist. So we have a lot of, probably 50% of our members are generalists. They just specialize in multiple products, because niching, people think of that as, all right, I got to pick an industry to go after, or I got to pick a location. It means different things. Like I have members who target the entire nation, but they use one or two key products. They want to be known for those products. Like if you want to get funding, for example, for your excavator, you want to go to Mike, right? So that person, he or she, wants to be known for that. That's niching down. Or if you grew up in a town your entire life and you have the Rolodex of all the businesses, then obviously you want to target that area because everyone knows you already, right? You make it easier for yourself. Brent, can you give us examples of websites you've done for other businesses? Brent, it's not really relevant to the program. That's an agency, and we offer our agency products to larger corporations. So what we do for them is usually like a couple of hundred pages of websites and things like that. So on this Q&A, I'm covering up what's in the blueprint. Does that make sense? Stanley, can we be in US, seek business in Canada? 100% Stanley. Yep, you can do that. Mike, is it possible to look at one of the sample websites to see how it looks and it can be customized? Mike, it's up to our members. Like we don't really give the website because that's one portion of the training. I mean, that's just, you are getting the website, but you want to get it out of the way. So you have it right now, and you start focusing on, because that's the reason we're providing an entire website, right? We don't want someone to say, oh, yeah, I want to change the entire color of this. No, this perfectionism is the enemy of profitability, right? You want to have a working website that looks good, and you want to focus on running your business, right? That's how we look at it. Ben, I'm in Canada with clients in Europe. Can lenders find European businesses? Ben, it's limited. Most of the English-speaking countries have the alternative lending market. But if I had to put it in order, so US is the biggest market, Canada is the second biggest, and United Kingdom is the third, New Zealand and Australia. Those are the ones. We even have lenders in those countries as well. So we do have clients in, I think, 8 different countries right now. So, but yeah, so again, Europe is, it's kind of limited. So I can't say the same things that I said for Canada and United States. But yeah, so if it is an English-speaking country, you can certainly use the lenders that we have. Maybe similar to Elise, I already have a LinkedIn profile that is related to my job. I would like to keep building of this business private from them. So I guess we could set up another profile, maybe with just our business name. Richard, LinkedIn profiles are personal, so you would need to set it up under, so you can't have 2 profiles, right? So you can't have 2 separate profiles. So either you would use somebody else, like some of our members are using their wife's girlfriend's profile because they're not using it. So creating another profile with the same name, sometimes LinkedIn doesn't care. Sometimes they just say, hey, you can't really do that. So that's, hit and miss, but I don't really know. Like that depends on how they watch it. But yeah, so if you want to, like a lot of times the question is like, why do you need to keep the existing LinkedIn profile without changing? Are you doing anything to build a business right now? Because there are ways that you can make the changes to your profile and it's not announced or entire connections, right? So there are ways around it, but it's not. You can't just use a business name because it doesn't look good. You have to use your actual personal name, and from the experiences, you can put your new business. Stell, sorry I missed, but what's the cost? Cost is, we go over that in the webinar, Stell. If you haven't watched that, I suggest you do. But at the end, I'm going to put the link here if anyone wants to get started, okay? Mikhail, I know many lenders from Egypt land, other companies, Eastern area, can we deal with them? Egypt land, I'm not sure. I don't know if you meant to type something else, but if they're in the US and if you like to use them instead of our lenders, you're more than welcome, Mikhail. Abraham, you're very detailed, but you're right about defining automation, but you nailed it. You understood what I meant. Awesome, Abraham. Sorry, I don't want to sound like I'm just too particular, but when I answer a question, I want to make sure I'm actually answering the question. I don't like round answers because that kind of opens it up to assumptions and misunderstandings and things like that. So I don't mean to kind of pick on your question, but I just want to understand like what the real question is so I can answer it properly. Hector, Oz, thank you for the Q&A. Very informative. I have to step into a meeting. Job. Bye, Hector. Thank you. Mike, in your opinion, what's the fastest and less expensive way to start generating income once we join? We go through that, Mike, in the training. So once you do join, you're going to learn different ways of generating leads depending on how fast you need it or what you're trying to accomplish. For example, some of our members want to, let's say they're making 10 grand a month from their business. So they're making 6 figures. They want to get rid of that business, get rid of the job, golden handcuff as fast as possible. So their goal is not to build an organization or employees or things like that. They just want to fund a couple of deals to get their income from this business to replace the income they have from the job. So they can use different marketing resources that we have in the training. Whereas another person is having difficulty making a living, right? Maybe they're making $1,500 a month and they're putting in like 50 hours a week and things like that. So their goal is to add more income to it. So they might use something different. Yaniv, do you offer coaching once we're a member, even if for additional fee? Yaniv, you have access to me when you do join. So I do have weekly calls where people jump in and ask me questions like same thing as you guys are doing right now. So we don't have anything in the program for that, since we have a lot of ways for people to get the coaching. But I do have a separate program called 7-Figure Broker Blueprint. That's only for those who made up their mind to build an organization. So it's not like, all right, I want to work from home and build an office, but that's like for like an elite group of business owners who already made up their mind to build an office with employees, and they want to make 7 figures, right? They want to be funding a couple $100,000 a month and things like that. So that requires one-on-one time because we're designing a monster, a machine, pretty much. And so that's a different program. If someone, after they join the program and they go through it, as they go through it, they say, all right, so I'm using these strategies, but I already made up my mind. I need to sit down with Oz and go through this and work with him one-on-one. So we do have a totally separate program, but it's not like an upsell within this. Does that make sense? Tony, I'm going to purchase through the 2-payment plan, but not going to be ready to purchase until November 8th in the evening. So today is November 6th. Will it still qualify for the bonuses? Tony, only you would have to contact the office only if you put in some kind of commitment, like a deposit. And that's it's not because we don't trust you. It's just you got to be fair for others, because a lot of people take advantage of the bonuses. So we don't want to have fake scarcity, right? So when we do say that, we do mean it. So that's perfectly fine, but you would need to talk to the office today and give some kind of small deposit or things like that. So we hold on to it. It's only 2 days, so we can make that work. And you can certainly email us to make that happen today, Tony. Let me know if you need the email address, please. Abraham, Oz, I have some understanding that when partnering up with online lenders, they give you access to maybe 20 lenders, but once you fund a deal, they go 50-50. What would be different on working with them and working with the lenders you provide in the program? I have some understanding that when partnering up with online lenders, they give you access to maybe 20 lenders. Once you find a deal, they go 50-50. Oh, yeah. So we don't. Are you saying like, are we gonna take 50% of the commission? If that's the case, that's we don't take any commissions from your deal, Abraham. So you work with them independently. We just recommend them because we know that they're not going to take advantage of you or steal your deals or anything like that. So and they pay you pretty good points because they know that. But here is the secret, right? So can you go ahead and find lenders online and figure it out yourself? Yes, but why would the lenders work with you, right? That's a lot of the times that's the problem the lenders have because they don't want to work with someone who's brand new because honestly when someone does that they're just looking up to the lender to learn the business and lender's job is not to train someone their job is to fund deals, right? That's why like they would delay your application. They don't want to get back to you, and if they do, they want you to prove yourself to them, and they pay you a little commission and things like that. With our program, the lenders know that we have the most comprehensive training in the industry, so they like to be working with our members. Why? Because our members, when they go through the training, they know exactly what to do. Like they've been like super trained, so it makes it easier for lenders because they don't want to be on the phone with someone explaining, oh, what's merchant cash advance or what's underwriting, what is that, what's that. So we have the program. That's why it works that way. So if that's what you mean, Abraham, you're not paying anything to us, and a lot depending on the product again. So lenders usually pay anywhere from 8 to 12 points, and sometimes they have like these bonuses or like promotional periods that can pay you up to 15 points or 18 points. Yaniv, I joined the program 2 days ago, and so far it's awesome. You're amazing, Oz. Thanks so much, Yaniv. Great to have you, but I didn't know. Ron, are there other purchases required after we join up, upsells, etc., besides the 7-figure program? 7-figure is not an upsell. There's a application process for us to accept each person because I can only work with so many people. I am on a very busy schedule. Upsells are no. You don't really need to purchase anything from us. So what else? Like you can do this with zero spend after you join. But for example, the website, there's hosting, right? You got to buy a domain and you got to do hosting. That's going to cost like $10 or so, $10, $15. Like those are the things, the cost of running business. Toby, what's the bonus? I missed it. Toby, we go through that in the webinar. So if you haven't watched it, watch it. But the bonuses, I'm going to go through that real quick. 4 of them. One is weekly call, lifetime. I do like Thursday nights. I do weekly call with all my members, similar to this structure. Members join and ask me questions, and I stay on as long as there are questions. You get that weekly support. Our Facebook group, I'm a member of the Facebook group, obviously. So you have access to our entire community and anyone that you've been seeing in those testimonials on YouTube or in my emails or however you found me. All these people are available, and I think Yaniv can attest to that if you've been in it for 2 days. We have an amazing community I'm very proud of. And you have access to our phone and email support because one of the things that I don't want to use the word hate, but I dislike passionately, I should say, is I buy a lot of training programs myself, and it's like you kind of dropped into the training. You're like, so what do I do now? Where do I go? And you have to email 10 people, and hopefully someone gets back to you. So I didn't want that to be the case with my program. That's why we provide not only the email support and also the phone support. That's the third one. The fourth one is this training is live. So whenever there's a change in the industry, whenever there's an update, we update the training. So we don't try to sell it to you, right? So you get it free of charge. I think, Yan, if that answers your question about the bonuses, right? Tony, email address. Let me see, Tony, if I can. I'm going to send you one of my staff's email so you can contact them about setting that up. All right. Wilson, email address for the payment group. Also the recording. So I'm just going to put in the email address here, guys, public. If you need to lock in the bonuses, or join the program. I'm going to provide, actually, I should just provide a link to joining the blueprint right now. So if you want to still lock in your bonuses, if you just do it right now, that you still get everything in. All right. So I put the offer up. There should be a button that should appear. So for those of you who want to kind of see the bonuses and specifically what's inside the training and the cost and things like that, you can see that. This was flowing really fast. So I'm just trying to see if I missed any question, so no one thinks that I purposely skipped it or anything like that. Hey guys, you can keep posting your questions. By the way, I'm going to catch up to them. Bilson says also the recording. Okay. Arnold, after signing up, how do I get walked through the process? That's actually the first lesson, Arnold. We walk you through how to use Blueprint. Like once you sign in, that's a great question, by the way. So that's the reason I created it. So you get to hear from me. So it's a first lesson in the training. How do you use the Blueprint before you jump right in? People are anxious to get started and want to take advantage of that. It's like the first lesson saying, all right, so you have this Blueprint right now. How do I use the Blueprint? That's very important. Guys, any questions? You guys see the link, by the way? I thought I shared. I just want to confirm that you guys are able to see it, because I don't want that to block the chat for some reason. Give me a yes if you can see the button to join, please. Interesting. I wonder if I'm not able to see the messages. Vin says yes. All right. I need to have. We have a lot of people here, so can you give me a couple of yeses, please, so I know that you guys can still see me and hear me and the chat. Oh, it's coming through now. Interesting. Maybe it froze. Sergey says this. Thanks, Oz. It was a very informative session. Yep, my pleasure. Thanks for the answers. Perfect. Awesome. All right, great. Yeah, it looks like there was a delay, guys. Now I can see all of you. Yep. Charles says, can I have a phone number to chat with one of your people? Not a phone number, but you can book a call if you want to chat with one of the representatives. Let me just put the link here. If you want to schedule a call. I just posted here. Lawrence, what's the preferred way of applying into the 7-figure blueprint model? So you're required to be in the blueprint already. So it's not for anyone who's not in the blueprint, because that's built on top of that. So once you join the blueprint, you're gonna, if you request it, we're gonna send you the instructions. Are you already in the program, Lawrence? Stanley, thank you, Oz. Yep. Arnold says, if I sign up online, what's the next step? Arnold, it's an automatic process, so you immediately get your login details and all the details on how to access the training right away. And also, you keep your bonuses since obviously you took time to join me today. Oh, Lawrence, all right. So if you're in the blueprint, yeah, so certainly once you pass below module 6, there's a section where you find out more about the 7-figure program, Lawrence. So we'll just log in and go all the way down right before the recordings of the past phone calls. It says 7-figure program. The first video tells you more about the program and how you can apply. Greg, if I'm on a payment plan for Business Landing Blueprint, at what time could we complete a deal after 30 days? What do you mean, Greg? So payments are 30 days apart. So you get access to everything up front if you do 2Pay. So when you fund the deal, has to do with when you submit the deal, and it takes a few days, just a couple of days. Tony says, I emailed Fernando about deposit. Hopefully he gets back soon. Don't want to miss out the bonuses. Thanks, Tony. Yep. Lawrence, perfect. Not at 6 yet, but soon. Yeah, you don't need to finish though. You have access to everything, Lawrence. So you can literally scroll down. So that's we placed it all the way at the end. So that doesn't mean you have to go through the whole thing. If you just want to check out the details, you have access to it. You can just scroll down and check like 7-figure system and check it out. Nicole, I'm a member and have enjoyed the Q&A, but must leave. Can you email it to me? Nicole, sure. If you're a member, you're going to get access anyways. But great to have you. Thanks for joining. Thank you, Nicole. Appreciate it. I'm loving it that my members are on this call as well. Thanks so much. That's some passion. To clarify, after the payment, one we can fund deal. Well, Greg, you have access to everything once you join the blueprint, once you pay the enrollment fee. So then you can right away start working at your business and start funding deals. So there's no time limit or anything like that. Yeah, I'm seeing a bunch of you already joined. So let me know if you have any questions about the enrollment process or the order page or things like that. All right, guys, if no questions, we can wrap it up. Again, I just wanted to be here to answer your questions and be able to help you guys get the bonuses in and still sign up and take advantage of the blueprint, because sometimes it's just one question that kind of keeps lingering in your mind and you're like, oh, is this what's going on and things like that. So I wanted to personally be here and show you that I'm the face of the company, and I want to help you make that decision, because it's the indecision that causes the problems. Like someone is in the limbo, they can't make up their mind. I'm 100% okay with people that go through that and say, nah, it's not for me. And also people who say, yep, it's for me. But people are in the middle, they can't make up their mind, and time flies, and a couple of years from now, they're still at the same spot as before. It's sad for them, right? But those who make the decision, either way, they're doing something better for themselves. Greg, thank you. It was very excellent information. Thanks, buddy. Lawrence, thank you, Oz. You're the best. And so is BLB. I feel like I have the keys to the kingdom. Lawrence, great to have you, buddy. Thanks for joining. I appreciate your time. I truly do. All right, guys, so I'm going to leave the link here for a couple of minutes. Some of you might be still working on it, so I don't want to remove it. But great to have all of you join today. Tony says, thank you, Oz. Have a good day. Take care. And if we do another Q&A, we'll definitely let you know. But that's it for today, and look forward to seeing the program. Right? Take care now. Bye-bye.